Hola, bienvenidos a Butterfly Spanish. Me llamo Ana, and in today's lesson you're going to learn how to say sorry in Spanish. So in English you say, oh, I'm sorry, sorry, oh, sorry. So many ways of saying sorry. Well, we do have many ways of saying sorry. We just use many words to say sorry. And today you're going to learn those words. I found 4 ways to say sorry, and I'm going to explain how to use each one and which one is appropriate for what occasion. And then we're going to learn, I'm going to give you a story so you can kind of, make sense of it and say like, oh, okay, I see how Anna is using it, so now I know, and next time I'll use it correctly. And then I'm just going to give you a tip about the pardon, right? Which is a little bit different in Spanish. Anyway, I hope you stay with me and let's start. I decided to start with the most sad, the most serious way. And then we're gonna go to the most common ways, probably the ones you need the most, especially if you're going away to an Spanish speaking country, or if you're going, anywhere. The first one is more specific, more serious, a little bit sad. The rest are more common. Let's start. Why am I saying serious, sad, blah, blah? You say, oh, why are you going to teach me today? It's terrible. Well, lo siento, sorry. Lo siento, I put una cara triste. Lo lamento. Mi más sentido pésame. Lo siento, I am sorry. Lo lamento. Mi más sentido pésame. Usually, you're going to use either of these to express sorry for a loss, for something really sad that happened, that wasn't your fault, something that happened that makes people sad. Someone dies, a person dies, an animal dies, something to be sorry about. That is not your fault. Lo siento, lo lamento, mi más sentido pésame. Mi más sentido pésame, I am very sorry for your loss, is going to be when someone dies. Correcto? Now let's get to more things that are not sad or not so serious. Well, a little bit serious still. Perdón. Perdón could be equivalent to forgive me, my apologies, and sorry too. So for example, when you use perdón, it's going to be, for example, I forgot to call my sister. Se me olvidó llamarle a mi hermana. I forgot to call my sister. Then she called me and, started complaining about, why didn't you call me? You will never call me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, perdón. I am sorry. Perdón. Se me olvidó. Okay? Very good. Now, other ways I can use it is when I say, for example, something that is my fault. Something that is like I am the cause of being sorry. Right? I told my sister, perdón, because it's my fault. I forgot. Correcto? Now, when I go on the subway and I step on someone's foot, happens to me very often because I'm a little bit clumsy. So I'm like, oh, perdón, right? Muy bien. Perdón, I'm apologizing for doing a bad thing. No, it wasn't intentional. Also, I forgot to call my sister. It wasn't intentional, but it's my fault, right? I'm taking the fault. I'm taking responsibility. I would say perdón. For example, if I say, for example, last time I was at a coffee shop, right? And I have my backpack. My backpack is very big usually. So I go like, move and hit someone. Oh, perdón, discúlpeme, right? I said 2 words. I said perdón and I say discúlpame. Why did I say that? Because I am really sorry. It was very careless of me to know that I had such a thing and I don't see people around. Perdón, discúlpame. And I made my happy face like I am really sorry too. Like, oh, perdón, discúlpame. It's like, oh, no, no te preocupes, don't worry. Okay? Muy bien. Now, perdóname is, it's like perdón, but what I'm adding here? I am adding myself. I am the object here. Forgive me, okay? Perdón is more general. Oh, perdón is to offer an apology. Now, when you say perdóname, is forgive me, no? You're making it a little bit more personal, right? You're taking like right directly your fault. It's your fault. Very good. Now, we're gonna go to disculpa and, oh, discúlpame, con acento en la U. Igual here, perdóname, discúlpame, or disculpa. Now, that's very common. That's super common. Why? Well, because you're going to use that disculpa very often. In fact, de hecho, when you're going to ask a question, you're lost. Imagine you're lost. You're in France, and you're lost. I probably need to speak French. Okay, you're in Venezuela, and you're lost. Oh, don't get lost in Venezuela. Might be very hard to get around. Disculpa, coma. ¿Dónde está el baño? Disculpa. ¿Dónde está el baño? Excuse me, where is the washroom? Very polite. Disculpa, right? Or you're walking on the street and you have your map, but you cannot find that museum, let's say. Disculpa. ¿Sabes dónde está el museo? Do you know where the museum is? Disculpa. ¿Sabes dónde está el museo? Muy bien. Entonces, como decía, as I said, disculpa. ¿Dónde está la cocina? Where is the kitchen? Maybe you're in a new place, you don't know where it is. So this is the word, la palabra, that you're going to use before asking. So you're polite. If you're polite, it's nice. Disculpa. Now, disculpa, as you heard before, I said, disculpa, when you stepped on someone's foot on the subway, you can also say, oh, disculpa, instead of perdón. And that's why perdón and disculpa overlap. Because very often, you can use either or. I hear sometimes people say perdón. I hear sometimes people say disculpa. I sometimes say perdón and I sometimes say disculpa. And usually, just remember that perdón and disculpa, if you're going to use it to apologize for something that is generally your fault, right? You can use either or. But, and this is the thing you have to remember, tienes que acordarte de esto. If you're going to ask something to a local person, you're going to say, disculpa, ¿dónde tarara? O ¿dónde blah, blah, blah? O ¿cómo llego a la central? How do I get to the bus stop, a la parada? How do I get to the museum? ¿Cómo llego a tal museo? Do you understand? You're not going to use perdón. No, it's more appropriate and more common to say disculpa when you're asking a person, when you're asking something to a person. Now, if, as I said, como decía, you're going to apologize for something, it's your fault. Remember, it's your fault. You can either say perdón or disculpa. Now, if you want to make it a little bit more emphatic, more like taking like you are, you can say discúlpame or perdóname. Means forgive me. It's you, right? You're taking it personally. Very good. Less general. Let's move on. Now, what I'm going to teach you now is how to avoid to apologize for something you did incorrectly or like you did wrong. For example, stepping on someone's foot. You can say, instead of pedir disculpas, instead of apologizing, you can, for example, if there's not enough space for you to go around, right? Instead of just go, disculpa, 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 and like hitting everybody, you can just say, con permiso, which means excuse me, right? It's con permiso. Con permiso. Con permiso, gracias. Con permiso, gracias. Con permiso, gracias. Very good. Instead of saying, disculpa, disculpa. No. See, you're changing the way you're going to act, right? So this is going to be excuse me, right? But if you, without noticing, you hit someone or you did something wrong, you're going to say disculpa. Now, if you forgot something, you did something bad and you have to apologize, you're going to say perdón o perdóname. Muy bien. Now, there is a phrase, there are two phrases that says, me pidió perdón, which means, for example, that person apologized to me. That person apologized to me. Or, me pidió disculpas. That person apologized to me. Is when you say someone did something bad to you and your mom is like, ¿te pidió disculpas? You say, sí. Me pidió disculpas. Or, me pidió perdón. That person apologized to you. Very good. So these are the two phrases that are common. You might like listen to these phrases sometimes. Some people, for example, say, ay, perdón. For example, when you say, when someone says something non-pleasant and you make like your eyes like, you roll your eyes like, and that person notices that you kind of got it and it's not nice. It's like, oh, ya, perdón. Like, it's like a common phrase. Oh, perdón. It's like, oh, sorry. Like, I didn't want to bother you. No, oh, perdón. Have to make the face. Oh, perdón. Very good. Now, for example, let's think of a story, right? So we can use all these words in one context. Now imagine you are going, your friend calls you and say, hey, my dog died. And the funeral is going to be held in Mexico City. And you live in, maybe you live in Texas. So then it's like, oh my goodness. What do you say when you hear that person say, my dog died? Do you say perdón? No, because it's not your fault. Or is it? No, it's not. You're probably very far. You didn't even, probably, you love that dog, but it's not your fault. So you're going to say, lo siento, lo lamento. You can also add, lo siento mucho, or lo lamento mucho. Yeah? I'm very sorry. Now you can say, mi más sentido pésame, although that would be more for people. But me, you know, I love dogs. I used to have many dogs. Lo siento mucho, that's what you're going to say to your friend. But then you hang up the phone and you're like, oh my God, I cannot leave my friend all alone with the dog all dead. And you say to your girlfriend, your girlfriend's name is Adriana. Adriana, I need to go to the dog's funeral because, you know, my friend loved that dog. I love that dog. You remember the dog? You remember the dog? Yes. So then Adriana said like, you cannot go. It's my sister's sweet 15th. Now in Mexico, we say 15 años is the 15. 15 años is like a big celebration. You cannot go. What are you going to say to Adriana? You're going to say, Adriana, perdón, but I have to go. Pero tengo que ir. Perdóname. I won't be present in the party because I'm going to go and be with my friend and feel sorry for the dog. Okay? And then, okay, you take the plane, right? You get on the plane. You get to Mexico City and you don't know how to get to the house, right? So then you leave the airport and like, what is going on here? First thing you're going to say is going to ask a question, right? Where is this subway station? Where is this where is the bus stop? Where is this address? How do I get to this address? How are you going to say it? Well, to a person, you see a Mexican that goes like, walks, probably maybe a police officer over there or someone that you see, okay, I can ask that person. Then you go say, hey, disculpe, right? Disculpe or disculpa. Now I forgot to say that. Disculpe or disculpa. Disculpa is more informal. Disculpe is more formal. I usually say disculpa. But if you feel like, oh, I don't know this person, you can say disculpe. Okay? The difference is the and the a. Okay? A, disculpa, disculpe. disculpe, ¿cómo llego a esta dirección? How do I get to this address? And the person is like, oh, mira, pues toma el metro, súbete al metro, bájate en tal estación, cámbiate de estación, vete a la otra estación, bájate, and explains how do you get there, right? Great. Now, if you're in the subway station, in the train already, and you stepped on someone's foot, how are you going to say? Oh, disculpa. But remember, Anna taught you how to avoid saying that by saying con permiso, gracias. You have to add the thanks after con permiso, gracias, con permiso, gracias. Very nice. Why? Because you're going to avoid punching everybody, because 100% is going to be cramped, and you are going to avoid saying disculpa to everybody, okay? Then you can just say con permiso, right? Now, when you get to your friends' house, what are you going to say? Well, you're going to say lo siento, lo lamento. Very good. Well, in that story, I used all the uses I am aware of about these words. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I hope now you're going to use these words properly. As I said, this is not carved in the stone, especially between perdón and disculpa. Sometimes you can use either or. So don't worry too much about it. What you have to worry is to remember that disculpa is more often used to ask something too, more specific than perdón. And the rest you already know. I hope you enjoyed my lesson. If you like my lesson, subscribe to my channel, Butterfly Spanish, and es un placer verte. It's a pleasure to see you, and I'll see you in next class. Adios. Hey, I forgot. Se me olvidó. I forgot this part. Very important part. I forgot. Pardon me. That's another way of kind of apologizing. Pardon me. Pardon. In Spanish, we say that in a different way. Usually it's related to what did you say? Like, pardon me. And we say, ¿qué dijiste? What did you say? ¿Qué dijiste? It's a formal way. ¿Qué dijiste? I didn't hear you. ¿Qué dijiste? But an informal way of saying pardon, like what are you saying? What I would say to my friends, for example, is like, ¿cómo? ¿Huh? ¿Cómo? ¿Qué? ¿Cómo? More often, ¿cómo? Okay, and you just mean like, ¿cómo? That means you didn't understand. Okay, that's what I forgot. I also forgot to say what I put these happy and sad faces, and it was because usually this is related to sad things, and this is usually related to a sad thing, but this is usually similar to disculpa, and so it could be sad, it could be just a question, right, like I'm neutral, and it could be happy when you actually wanted to step on someone's foot. And con permiso is happy because it's polite. So that's why, like, that's the cause of my faces. That you're gonna say, like, why did she put the faces? Okay, anyway, that's what I forgot. Have a good day.